types of she was saying certain types of vodka give her like a headache, and I'm like, that's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? If you drink too much of it, that's what's giving you the fucking headache. That's called a hangover. Oh man, so yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, but if you've ever been at a party and like, you know, like you get the absolute, sometimes you get sick and stuff off that. You know what I mean? Like at least I have.
Off the more expensive stuff.
Off, I don't know. I find that a little like on more cheaper, like as opposed to like a, you know, like a Grey Goose or
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but it's not like drinking like a Georgie or something like that. That shit is like $5 for 1.175. You know, you're trying to get trashed.
Oh man, I remember buying the Georgie and a carton of orange juice when I was like teenager, like just started drinking.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we used to drink, screwdrivers in the park, and we used to just be throwing up by the end of the night all the time. It was just like,
lightweight. Did you guys ever drink Mad Dog?
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Colt 45s, St. Ides.
Crazy Horse.
Can I tell a Mad Dog story really quick?
OE, of course.
So I never drank like in high school until I got to college. Like I never had anything to drink. To this day I don't drink beer. So, you know, it was really hard to find something that, you know, budget wise that actually tasted good. And when I was in college, I was in Miami, Florida at UM. And the grocery stores would carry only the grape flavored Mad Dog. And one of the guys that lived across the hall from me, who, you know, had an ID that would allow him to purchase stuff, even though he wasn't of age, he had gotten a brand new BMW convertible as a graduation gift, I guess. He was from Atlanta down there in school. So he was like, I'll take you to the store. He's like, and I'll buy it for you. Like the red flavor, because it tasted better. He's like, but you have to come with me and you have to sit in my car, because of where we have to go to buy it. I'm like, and you know, you're young, so you're stupid. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll come with you. So, you know, I grew up in the Midwest, and we go to this shit part of like downtown Miami, to this area. Now, this is, you know, 1993, and it looks like a freaking, I don't know, like Dr. Dre video in this place. With like adult men riding like kids' bikes around, you know, in the white tees. And we go to this little corner market, and I'm just sitting in the front seat of this car, this like brand new, very nice car, trying not to make eye contact with anyone, all for like a $6 bottle. Because I had to drink the red because it tasted better than the grape. I don't know. It's just funny. It's like, I think back, I'm like, the stupid stuff you do when you're not really. Exactly. When you're motivated, I guess, right? It's motivation. And now what do I do is I'm motivated to buy toys. So, you know, I do other stupid things just to cover that dog.
Gary, do you drive to shady places and have your wife stay in the car while you go hunt for toys?
Right. I'm going to go to this Walmart. Here's what you have to do. You have to stay in the car.
Keep the car running, doors locked.
Right. Exactly.
All right. Well, what's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 26 of Breaking the Mold. This is the newest podcast coming at you guys each and every single week here on the Realm of Collectors YouTube channel. If audio is your preferred platform, we got you covered. We're on iTunes and Google Play through iTunes and Google Play. Please remember to subscribe and leave a 5-star review, as it will really help out the podcast. If you're watching us on YouTube, please like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And there's also a live chat below that you can hop into. Anybody that's chiming in on the topics tonight, we're going to try to be shouting you out, you know, all throughout the podcast. So hop in there, say what's up. It's always good times. This episode of Breaking the Mold is brought to you by Crashbox Customs, the official Mezco supplier of the Realm of Collectors. Visit Crashbox Customs on social media for all your Mezco 112 needs. Mention the word Realm when placing your order and you'll get a special gift with your purchase. So check out Crashbox Customs all over social media. I'm Harrican BX. Let's say what's up to the rest of the crew. First up, Energon Addict. How you doing, Pop? Did I cut out?
No, you didn't.
No, you're good. You're good.
Oh,
am I muted? I was muted, right?
Yeah, he was muted.
Yeah, I didn't want to be rude. I was like playing with a toy and stuff. So, yeah. Happy Tuesday, guys. I'm happy to be here. Happy to be with you, gentlemen, on this lovely day.
Yes,
Let's talk some stuff.
Got some good stuff tonight. How are you doing? How was the weekend? How was the week? What's popping?
My weekend was okay. Saturday I got out with the wife a little bit. We left the baby with her mom. Did some work on the upstairs of the room. The carpet's coming in next week, so I'm looking forward to that. So
Nice.
yeah, so that way I have somewhere to sleep all you guys when you come here. You can sleep on the fucking fluffy fucking carpet on the floor with your air mattresses and shit. But aside from that, that's it, man.
Nice.
Dude, I have to say, carpet is key. I got things that fall from time to time, and I have hardwood floors in this room. And sometimes I cringe when I hear something fall before I open the door to see what it was.
That was a big thing I thought about, Brian, when I said if something falls and I put hardwood floor up there, it'll be the end of whatever it is, Carpet, I have a little buffer, you know what I'm saying? The only thing is you might lose shit in carpets too, like little pieces like SH Figuart hands and weapons and shit.
Sabers.
Yeah.
I have
The pro-
hardwood throughout my house. And everything has survived so far. There's been quite a few things that have taken shelf dives, and they made it.
Nice.
Well,
Anyway.
Transformers.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm a grown adult. I know how to take care of my shit. So
What are you saying, Gary?
You gotta catch them.
Just kidding.
So says Gary, who has his Hulkbuster sitting on the floor and nowhere near.
No, he is the Hulkbuster. Hulkbuster is on but to be fair, yeah, you're right. It is a solid like 12 by 12 block of like wood that we got at like Home Goods that is like not going anywhere, and it's about 18 inches off the ground. So, but it's like a solid piece of tree trunk. So yeah,
I'm waiting for the post in the group where someone says they stubbed their toe on their Hulkbuster. God damn it.
I'm waiting to see what somebody gets when they buy the Hulkbuster through one of those like fraud Facebook ads. Because we've seen the rubber Thanos glove and we've seen the lightsabers that people are getting.
They're coming. What are the lightsabers?
I'm curious.
Like, are they pool noodles or something?
No, they were like a plastic toy laser sword. I think someone posted one. I think it was like real. Like I think that.
Like it doesn't light up?
I don't know. I mean, it looked like something you'd buy at like Big Lots for like $5. In a box that said like laser sword. So.
When I was a kid, I had a lightsaber that when you swung it, it would like whistle or something.
Yeah, those are the vintage
those are cool.
Star Wars sabers.
Nice.
And they had all these stress marks in it because we would beat each other with it.
Banging them against each other, yeah.
So we did. It's good.
Brian, that was just a wiffle ball bat, but no one had the heart to tell you.
Well, next up, the analyzer, Brian Brank. How you doing?
I'm doing good, guys. Doing good. Had a good weekend. Saw some family.
Nice.
And
Always a good time.
had a lobster dinner because I was up in Maine. That was pretty good. So shout out to my brother-in-law, the dentist. He takes care of us when we're up there, I have to say. I didn't get anything, so that kind of sucks. But I do have a large expense coming and to be installed on Thursday. So once that's out of the way, we'll see. We'll see about getting on track here, shipping some pre-orders and whatnot.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, bless you, JD.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome, sir.
No. Bless
But no, I am also excited to be here talking with you guys today. No sacrifice, no victory. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. That's right.
Preach it, Mr. Witwicky.
All right. Next up, Big Dom. How are you? Did you freeze again? Oh, this dude froze again, yo.
He's being like that dude from Guardians. He's just, if he stays still.
He's mastered the art of invisibility.
You're going to hear him eat a potato chip soon.
Man, Big Dom is having technical issues. I'm sure he'll be back with us in a second. I'll move on to G Money. What's up, bro? What's going on?
Hey. Hello. Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
What's up?
Hi. How are you doing?
Everything's good. It's good. It was had a nice weekend here. I got to go see Jurassic Park on Friday on my day off with the wifey. She humored me and came with me to see that, so that was cool.
Nice.
Very entertaining.
Is she
Yeah.
not? You said humored you, so is she not into the whole Jurassic World?
No, we saw the other one a couple years ago, right? The Jurassic World. And she was like, "Yeah, it was fine." And when this one came out, she was like, "Let me guess, it's going to be dinosaurs and people running and people screaming and somebody scheming to, take advantage of the situation." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, it is.
That's the formula.
Exactly. Right." I said, "But it's dinosaurs." And
she's just a Chris Pratt fan. She just hasn't told you.
yeah. But we, no. So she agreed to come with me when we saw the preview when we saw Deadpool part 2. So yeah, so we did that, and then went to the beach on Sunday, which was pretty nice. It was like a real perfect day for that. So I spent most of the day there.
Nice.
And then back to work Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah, the Monday grind, of course.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of the film?
I mean, she liked it in terms of like just what it is. It's suspended belief. Brian, you're right. The formula is not anything new or different. I thought CG looked good. It was entertaining. A few things they did different. A couple things they threw in there that was like, all right, you didn't really have to do that. You're trying to make a point, but certainly set things up for something else that they could do. But I'll tell you, there's a sequence in that movie, and it's in the previews, and I can't remember what it's called, but this big. See if I can show it. This big like aquatic alligator dinosaur thing, right? Is like swimming in the waves with the surfers, and you see it about to like just chomp on somebody and eat it, and it's just like a real short clip. We saw this movie on Friday. On Saturday, I get home from work. What is she watching? For whatever reason, she's watching Jaws and Jaws 2. Which on one hand, I'm like excited. I'm like, oh, my wife's kind of checking out some classics. That's great. And then on the other hand, I'm like, are we going to the beach tomorrow? Are these really the movies that we want to watch? Like right before we go hang out. But she doesn't really go in the water, and and I do. So it's just kind of funny because I'm like a little kid. I'm like out in the waves, and it was pretty wavy that day on Sunday. And every time they were breaking, it's like all I could see. I was like, "Is there something in there? Is there something? Did something touch my foot? Maybe I should go back in."
Did you think it was one of those dinosaurs in there?
Well, I know it's not one of the dinosaurs, but you're out there. You're like,
it's called it's called the Mosasaurus, if you wanted to know.
Yeah,
Mosasaurus.
What makes that irrational? Go ahead.
I would say, was it mimosa? So,
Gary, no, I was going to say what makes my irrational fears even funnier is that one of the reasons I went to school in Miami is I studied marine science there. It's actually one of my degrees, so I know better. But your imagination gets the best of you when you're out there all by yourself, kind of hanging around.
Gary, which beach do you go to?
We do Fenwick Island. It's a little less touristy.
Do you go to Smitty McGee's?
That's where the swingers hang out, Brian. That's
it's the new. It's not like that at all.
That's why Gary works on his app game so much.
I think a 6-pack is mandatory to go to the beach at Fenwick Island.
No, trust me, it is not. It is not. There's a fair share of tourists there, but it's a little nicer. It's a little calmer than Ocean City, Maryland stuff is. A little less touristy stuff going on there.
Stop by.
So it's good. It's good to
stop by Smitty McGee's next time you're there, and you can do one of those oyster shots. You ever have one of those?
No, I have not.
Like a raw oyster and some booze and
put them on, Brink. Put them on.
I've never done it. That's disgusting. But I think Gary should do it.
It'll give you the best boner you've ever had.
You're offering up something that you haven't tried yourself. Look at that.
And I'll just say I've been buying Transformers like crazy the last 2 weeks. I have like 3 Lamborghinis that came in of different characters. I got a couple other things en route, and I got the Thanos from SH Figure Arts. So I now have 3 SH Figure Arts. So I think that officially starts a collection of something different. So
so you had mentioned that before.
I thought you were a Storm Collectibles guy, no?
Yeah.
Well, no, I've got Storm Collectibles too. No, I didn't buy any of the fighters, no Street Fighter or any of that stuff for SH. It's just Marvel.
So Gary, is it 3 or 4 figures of a line that constitutes having a collection?
I don't know. What do you think? I always thought once you seem to have 3 of something, maybe it's a collection. I don't know.
He's a crowd.
Right? Three's company.
He's a collection.
We need to come up with
Right.
a term for that. Gaggle of gooses.
I'll be waiting for you.
Anyway,
There you go.
Kids don't know about that.
Nah,
That's a shame.
Shame.
Google it.
That's-
Google it, kids.
It's a damn shame.
yeah, Three's Company.
Mhm.
Did anyone else ever like wonder why it took three of them to like pay for rent in one apartment, and their friend Larry could live by himself downstairs?
He was banging them.
Yeah, Larry.
He was cleaning out their purses when he brought the girls home.
He was taking
Well,
oyster
actually-
shots every night.
Actually, didn't he sell used
He
cars?
was eating raw clams.
Wasn't he a used car salesman?
Can't trust those guys.
I know, right? Fuck! I just set myself up for that one.
All right, back with us, Big Dom. Are you here? You down?
Yeah. I'm
What's
just
going-
having some connection issues.
It's fine. What's happening, brother? What's going on, man?
Not much. My weekend was good. It was lovely. Also went to go see Jurassic Park. I enjoyed it. It definitely a different. The whole movie was a good take on where they're going with it. So I'm excited. I guess I just like seeing dinosaurs on a fucking screen fighting each other. That's pretty cool.
Nice.
What color high heels was Bryce Dallas Howard wearing this movie?
I have no idea, dude. No idea.
I know.
I was watching a YouTube video, and supposedly she insisted on wearing those ridiculous shoes
Again,
during the last movie so she could show that she could run in them.
Oh wow, for real?
Yeah.
Who gives a fuck?
yeah,
Really?
exactly.
You know. So nice. So you
If you
enjoyed
want to, if you want to impress me, cook me dinner.
it. You do anything else? How was
Saturday. I went to some one of my wife's good friend's son graduated high school, so he was going off to college. So they had a little party for him. So I ended up
nice.
driving out to Long Island, and I stopped by my friend Dave's house just to mule him some figures that he's been on layaway with me. So
nice.
Dave,
Thank you very much.
Dave, you got
Thank
to
you.
follow through, man. You can't have those restocking charges with Dom.
yeah, no.
No, it's funny. You know what me and Dom do. I mean, we all do it within each other. I think once in a while, but like he'll work a deal, like some guy selling like a bunch of toys. So he'll work a deal where I'm like, he's like, "You need any of this, Dave?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do actually." What I'll do is Dom will pay for it. I'll pay Dom back, and the guy will just ship everything to Dom.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he's splitting it between two different people and essentially dropping the price down. You know what I mean?
We
Because
go for a group.
the more
deal.
you buy, the cheaper it gets.
I feel like we just did that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we
did.
did.
We just did that on Friday.
And we got
Right.
Gary. Gary came in on us.
Mhm.
Yeah, I sure did. You invited me finally, so I did.
Yeah, I got those right here, man.
Dominomics, man.
it
Dominomics.
was-
More
it was
mythic
funny,
fucking
like-
legions.
I'm at fucking Science. I was at the Science
Mythic.
Liberty Center in Jersey City, and I'm Dave's texting me, "Yo, dude, did you see that post? That guy selling a couple Star Wars Hot Toys. Do you need some?" Oh my god! I'm like, yeah, I could go for those two figures, and he's like, I need this one. Let's bundle it all together. See what kind of deal he's gonna give us. I'm in
It
like
works, man.
I'm in
Works.
like Liberty Science Center, just fucking texting and working deals on Hot Toys.
Man, I remember when they built that place. That was
So
Yeah, that's-
it was a good weekend. I had fun.
Smart shopping, man. Smart shopping. That's the way you got to do it.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
And I
especially
think
when you guys.
even some like on the group, some people like if you buy multiple, they even tell you that they'll give you a discount. They even advertise it. And I think this one particular gentleman that we were going through did. He said if you buy two, I'll take off $75 or something like that. So we were trying to work a
Nice.
deal with that.
That's right, man. Dominomics in full effect. Love it. Fucking love it. Nice, man. Sweet. Thanks for sharing.
No problem.
All right. The original meatbag himself, JD. How are you, brother?
Howdy, don't meat bags.
What's up, JD?
I may retire that. It sounds very mean
Oh,
and negative. It's very toxic.
everybody turn your feelings off before JD talks.
Yeah. Because I love you all.
Tell him how you feel, man. Tell him.
So, yeah.
Do anything good, JD, this weekend?
Did I get anything good?
Any more barbecue?
How are you? I want to know how you're doing. How's the weekend? How is work? How's everything?
Work was fine. Chan's great.
Yeah, we don't care about anything else. We just want to know how Chan was doing. Now you can shut up. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm out. See you guys later. I mean, we didn't really do much. I wanted to go see Jurassic Park, but we kept working on this dio, and by the time we get around to thinking about it, it's too late. So we didn't go to see it.
Working on the dio.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much what we did all weekend, and I actually ordered Transformers for once, so I got a bunch of stuff here lately. I mean, among a shit ton of Mythic Legions, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But got some Transformers.
We're not allowed to talk about that, JD.
No?
Not until we get sponsored.
Yes,
by
exactly.
those dudes.
I'm working on it.
We better. Fuck, you better be working on it.
I'm working on it.
Bought so many those sons of bitches.
I don't know, man. Next Toy Con, dude, I'm gonna pull up a bucket of popcorn. I'm gonna sit next to the Four Horsemen table and watch you guys work that
shit. But yeah, caught up on some Zeta toys, and I got the X Transbots Crack Rock.
Crack?
Man, either you're slinging crack rock or you got a wicked jump shot.
There you go.
I feel so proud of myself for just holding out.
You're holding out, Brian?
Holding out.
Holding out.
Strong.
Dude, I'm holding out for gift sets.
I want the gift
sets.
Dude, $40 fucking dollars. Just get it, man. You
Yeah,
fucking
buy it.
$40. You spent $40 in the fucking night.
Pookie.
That doesn't mean
Get it,
shit the
Pookie.
next day. Like, come on.
You spend
that crack.
Spend $40 and you piss it out.
Yeah, think about those $100 bar tabs and shit that don't
Exactly.
mean nothing 8 hours later. You know what I'm saying? $40. Fuck it.
I don't know, man.
Go in.
Do it.
The toxicity of Keith still runs deep.
Yeah, no, but dude, that's what I thought. Like we talked about it, me, Dave, and JD. Well, we talked about it last week on the after show. You know, that's a fucking for X Transbots. That shit surprised me, you know, because the last one that I spent money on was Apollyon, and I saw the reviews of all the other products that they put out, and you know, still that subpar QC, you know, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna spend my money, you know, but you know, seeing the videos of this, I was pleasantly surprised, you know, especially for the price point that you're paying. You would expect a piece of shit. It's very nice. And,
I think I just need to get their huffer and pipes out of my line of sight, and then maybe I'll look at it. And every time I get the itch, I just look over and be like, yeah, oh, never again.
fucking trigger, right? It's fucking trigger.
But then I look at their blaster. He's like, come on, man. Sometimes they're good. Oh,
Yeah, the blaster. It's held up a long time.
It'll hold up till the Takara one comes out, and then everybody will be like, "Oh, it's a piece of shit."
Keep blaster's on point, man.
That it is.
I think it's fucking good.
Yeah. Well, I had a pretty low key weekend too. I didn't really do much because I spent a lot the weekend before.
Well, we didn't ask you though.
Yeah, who gives a shit what you do?
Yeah, I mean,
Jose, how you doing, brother?
All right.
I'm fucking accent.
Jose, what's up, bro? I use you.
I thought we'd go right to the topics.
Oh, Jose, you better not. You better come back.
He left.
Yeah, I mean, I really nothing to speak of at all. Like it was really like a lazy weekend. And you know, got some Transformers in too, which is nice. You know, go through a slight little drought, and then you get some new stuff. It's always exciting, and I've been very happy with what's come in. So it's kind of like reignited the passion somewhat for the collecting. You know, however short-lived that it may be. You know what I'm saying? It just so happens a bunch of releases have come out recently.
That's it. Sure. But look, We all know what's rekindled it. Fucking sweet ass cars that turn into robots. You know, people they forget that little basic aspect. But seriously, if you look down deep in your soul, you know that's what's rekindled your fire for the TX.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. I'm loving all the Lambos. You know, the
I
crack
think
up we were
Brian's
just
right.
mentioning.
Yep.
Yeah. Very nice. Gary, I remember you posted the pic for what was the movie? The Tom Cruise flick?
Freaking Rain Man. Yeah. It's like for the our younger listeners, if anybody, but yeah, it's a 80s movie, late 80s movie where he's an automotive wholesaler and he's got 4 Lamborghinis coming in. He's trying to meet US EPA registration so he can sell them. That's a small part of the movie, but the one that sticks out to me.
Yeah, you know. So it is so fitting just to kind of see that, like considering like the releases and the stuff people have been getting in recently. So, you know, Brian, you're exactly right. You know, cars that turn into robots are fucking cool.
It's cool, man. It's fucking cool.
All right, so let's get into some of the stuff we're going to talk about tonight. And I think the theme might be sacrifice, what we might start out with. So, you know, let's go through it. We've all done things to support our habit, to support our, you know, collecting. And we, you know, Gary was throwing it out in the chat that we have, you know what I'm saying, as we try to come up with stuff. And it's like, you know, what have we done to support this hobby? What have we made any sacrifices that you could say, you know, in order to do what we do here? You know what I'm saying? Like, I know we all work and, you know, we do what we need to do to support the hobby. But have you really had to dig down deep at any point in your life to kind of support what we do here? You know, if anybody got any stories, what do you think?
Well, I'll start off, I guess. Like, you know, I always, like, when we were kicking this around the chat, you know, time is definitely something that you sacrifice in your collection. Like, you know, I love toy hunting. It's something that, you know, I look forward to. So I know, you know, what would I be doing if I was not toy hunting? Like, what other things would I get myself involved in and see? You know, granted, I do take the time and effort to see family members and stuff like that and go to parties and family parties and stuff, but I'm sure I would probably do more in
cocaine.
Yeah, probably cocaine. Hookers off a prostitute. Yeah, that definitely works.
Yeah.
But like shit, like, you know, simple, like go to the beach, you know, and just enjoy the day in the sun. But that doesn't look good because I'm fat and, you know, nobody wants to see me on the beach. but you know, it's just time definitely is sacrificed when getting involved in the collection and making time. You know, I can't, like, Gabe calls me up at work and goes, get off eBay. Like, you know, just stop shopping for toys.
He already just knows you so well that he can just call you up and know exactly what the fuck you're doing.
How much time is spent just, like, you know, out in the...
You got a camera here?
Yeah. Out in the internet's just you know, tracking down deals and stuff and trying to find something for the cheapest price you possibly could. But it's definitely time for me. Like, you know, I really would enjoy probably spending less time on it, but that's just something that probably is not in my blood to do. So
that's interesting though. Like I didn't see it like that. Like, you know, when you're kind of, you know, seeing the topic laid out and you're like, okay, like what, you know, when you try to think about your answer, the time aspect didn't occur to me, and you're absolutely right. You know, like, and it's true. Like, I'll be at work and, you know, busy as fuck, and, you know, but sometimes I feel like I need a break, and, you know, just click right onto the, you know, the toy site, you know what I'm saying, or click onto Facebook and check out Dime Chalk to see if there's any fucking new photos out. You know, like, you know, you don't realize it, like, unless you really put your mind to it, like how much time we actually do put into it. That's true. It's a good point.
Yeah, definitely a lot of time into it. Brammer in the chat says that he sacrificed his dignity and sex life.
Yes.
I mean, it does coincide with what Dom said. I think if I wasn't, like, stuck on like the Facebook pages looking for deals or eBay or staring at the same fucking toy pics over and over, debating on
They would be
which one
swinging
am
his
I gonna
dick.
buy it, am I not? I might be getting laid more, you know what I mean?
Woo,
Meanwhile,
hey, baby.
you know, my wife's like, I'm going to bed. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm looking at toys, you know, and it's like, fuck, man.
Yeah, I'd be at the gym doing triceps with Gary. You know, I would be doing a lot of shit. I'm like, hey, Gary, check out my triceps.
No, the time aspect is definitely a great answer. That's a good one. That's
Yeah,
a good,
man. I mean,
sure.
and you know, for those of us, you know, here, like on breaking the mold, and you know, as for me, I mean, the joke is I'm like on every podcast, but you know, I do spend time there. I
Mhm.
don't necessarily want to refer to it as a sacrifice, but you know, back when, even before I was on the shows, though, like people are like, hey, it'd be Monday night after work. People are like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, I can't go out there. I'm busy. And what I'm doing is I'm going home, making something to eat, and I'm gonna fucking turn on YouTube and fucking watch Enter the Wild, you know, kind of shit like that.
And
So
Brian, I got a question. When you used to do that, when you used to watch ETR, right? You had like a little ritual, like almost like
oh yeah, absolutely.
yeah. Same here. I still do. Like I watch it in the same spot all the time. I still watch it on my phone as opposed to watching it like on a laptop.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go and sit in the corner and we'll still watch it on my phone. Even like if my phone's dead, I'll plug it in and stand by the charger. It's just weird, bro. It's just easier for the chat too. Like if you're talking on the chat, like it's easier on the phone than it is on the computer for some reason.
Yeah.
Dave, it's funny
I
you said
used-
that because I'll do the same thing. I'll be like, I have 3 freaking, smart TVs that that I can choose, sit and watch, and I'm on my, I'm on the phone. doing
On
the
a
same way.
fucking 4-inch screen
Just-
watching.
and-
That's what I've always done.
Yeah, I'm usually watching on the mobile too. But that's only because it's on Monday nights, Monday Night Raw. So if I want to kind of have that on, I have that on the television and I'm watching ETR like on the mobile. And stuff.
Multitasking.
And then and it's easier to kind of just chime in on the chat as well because I have watched ETR a few times on the big screen. And it's cool, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like boom on the screen. But then like every once in a while, like I guess since you're watching it like that, like YouTube will like count down an ad and then it'll show like another video instead of taking me back to the live stream. So I'll have to click back and go back onto the live stream. I'm like, that's a pain in the ass. So sometimes it's easier like on the mobile, and just if you're walking around and shit, you know what I'm saying? You could just kind of have the phone in your hand or your pocket.
Yeah. And I would shop too. I mean, I'd shop online while they're talking about stuff. Like, yeah, it's out.
Yeah. So, but not just sacrifices like for this topic, you know what I'm saying? It could be like any lengths like you've gone through, like even in the past, like it doesn't even have to be current, like, I remember before my current position now, I'm fortunate to make a little bit more money than I did, a few years ago. And I always had to depend on overtime, like to kind of fund the hobby, with bills being what they are here in the city and everything that you have to pay out. If I wasn't doing overtime, I would find it hard to kind of keep up, especially getting into all this third party stuff that's expensive and fake arts and, all this other shit that you want to buy because, you want everything. So it is a game of picking and choosing, and so I'm like, shit, if I want this, I want that, I'm gonna fucking buckle down. And it goes back to the time aspect, like what Don brought up. I'm sacrificing my personal time at home, I'm sacrificing time with my girlfriend, with family, what I'm saying, so I could go to work, to earn that time and a half to support my hobby. So when I thought about it from that aspect, I wasn't thinking about it from time, but the time aspect, but just thinking that I had to work extra, to make that extra bread so I could spend it on toys,
Yeah, Jose, you got me thinking this, those of you guys who know me now this might sound a little bit crazy, but in my younger days in like the mid 90s, post college and, kind of being on your own and paying rent and car insurance and everything yourself, like I'd give up, I wouldn't say I'd give up eating, but I would give up my food allowance, I guess, right? In my budget, I would stretch that differently to buy Power of the Force, Star Wars stuff when that was like all like new, like 95, 96. So, I would eat, the tuna helper stuff, and I would stretch, that food budget because I would rather go buy 4, Power of the Force figures for $20 instead of higher quality food at the time. So
Yeah.
that was
Dude,
Fuck that
The
steak.
same thing.
It's like eat to survive or buy some figures. Like look,
Yeah.
look at what we're prioritizing.
Gary,
That's
Gary, you didn't drive those extra few miles to get the red Mad Dog. You would just slum it and get the purple stuff.
Yeah, and I would just be like, hey,
Going to the hood.
how long can I stretch this store brand peanut butter? And
Scraping it with that knife, getting
Get
that.
that Crysdale
No.
instead of that Jiffy.
you guys joke that was the 90s, right? For you, that's
Mhm,
present
yeah.
day. For me, that's this week. Like,
That's
you know what I mean? Like, we
Ketchup and
literally
rice. That's all you get.
no, we ordered Chinese food for dinner, right? And I could have ate the whole thing, and I'm like, nah, Dave, eat the other half for lunch tomorrow, because if not, you're gonna have to buy lunch, and you can't afford to buy lunch because you just got fucking how much money taken out of your account for all the pre-orders last week, So it's real life, and for me, like, I bring lunch probably 4 out of 5 days a week at least, and that includes breakfast and includes all the beverages I drink throughout the day too. So I bring my own water. I bring, my own coffee. I don't spend money during the day unless it's a Friday, and sometimes I go out with a coworker for lunch.
You don't drink that break room coffee.
Nah.
I used to do that. I'm buying my cup of coffee every morning, but you think
Yeah.
about it, yeah, it's $1.50 every day. You can
Mhm.
be saving that shit.
Yep.
Mhm.
For sure. What about so one of the other things when it comes to time, just personally, I remember back before my collection had grown to this level and I had more disposable income, like it would be a Saturday afternoon, be like, all right, here we go. I got 5 figures that I want. I'm gonna go to 20 different sites. I'm gonna see what's bundled together on eBay, what's not, blah blah blah. And like, dude, man, I make an afternoon out of it. And sometimes you think it won't take very long, but before you know it, there it goes, 3 hours before you
That's
finally
true.
hit the buy now button.
Yep.
It's like it was a lot of fun back then.
I would do that late nights and just see a figure that I'm interested in and just go shopping online and just put a spreadsheet together and say, okay, am I looking for this collection and what figures do I want? Put it on the list and start getting prices and just then eventually a couple hours and getting a kind of feel on where I want to, how much I want to spend, and click. You just
So
buy it
that's
up.
an interesting concept. Like, I'm curious what you guys think. So I'm trying to rack my brain, like, what would I do with the time that kind of goes into all that? Whether it be the shopping piece, whether it be the organizing the display, dusting the display on occasion, rearranging it. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm really trying to think, like, what else would I do? So we don't have any kids. Would I spend more time with my wife? Would she get sick of me because I'd spend too much time with her? I still go to the gym and stuff now. I, obviously do my work responsibilities and stuff around the house. But
It sounds like you're not spending too much. It sounds like you're not spending enough time on toys, Gary.
I know, right? Maybe I'm not. Maybe that's it. But I'm curious. Like,
This guy's got time to go to the gym. What the fuck?
You know what I'd do if I had more time? I'd vacuum more. I hate vacuuming. But I would do it more often.
But that just kind of got me thinking. Like, do you guys think, is it? So we have friendships, right? And we have like the ROC, we have the live chat here, right? So we're still engaging with people, I think, who share the passion. But do you think it has an impact on your other relationships in terms of like family or dating
definitely.
It got to a point where I have a cousin, right, who he's into collecting too, but not on our level. Like, he does like vintage Ninja Turtle stuff from time to time, and he made a comment to me that made me laugh one like Friday. He sent me, I hope Sunday Heat's in the chat. If he's not, if he listens, so he knows who I'm talking about. He's friends with my cousin too, so he sent me Sunday Heat, giving me a fist pump Friday, And he was like, now that I got your attention, do I need a ROC shirt in order to hang out with you? And I'm like, oh shit. Like, I'm like, why do you say that? He goes, because that's all you do, man. All your weekends are dedicated to them. And I'm like, that's not true, bro. How often do you reach out? But it does. Like, even with the wife, like, planning our trips together and, get-togethers and stuff, I gotta check with her because, like, I kind of feel like I'm taking away some time away from her, when I do these get-togethers. But they're so few and so far away sometimes that she understands. But what would I be doing? Like, you know what I mean? Like, when we plan something, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to fucking Chicago, no problem. My wife's like, oh, let's go to San Francisco. I'm like, you really want to go all the way over there for what?
Yeah.
You know?
Yo, dude, that's real. That's real. It's,
but
it's almost the
fuck do
same
you want to
thing,
go
like
over
how-
there, babe?
how
But-
we don't think twice
Right.
about doing
To watch
what
Full
with our
House.
buddies, but like something like that, we're like, what?
but oh yeah, I want to go to TF Con and go look at fucking more toys and fucking hang out with the guys that I hang out with every fucking other month, But hey, that's why we call it a hobby, and I guess that's why we're here on Tuesdays because we're passionate about it. So I think that that's kind of separates us from like the novice collectors that just pick up something here and there and occasionally watch a show or a podcast. We're in it, like, you know what I mean? It's like it's become a part of our lives.
Well, there it is. It's just a hobby, man. Like you said, like what would we be doing? And then we were talking about the time that we spend like as a sacrifice, but it's really not. Like, I don't think we look at it in that way in our everyday lives because we're just doing something that we're enjoying. You know what I'm saying? It's our hobby.
Mhm.
So we're not thinking about the time that we spend in it because it's just something that we enjoy. Maybe people from the outside looking in, maybe, people that might not be into it like we are, could, be outside that bubble and look at it and be like, maybe you do spend too much time, our significant others and stuff like that. But we're just doing what we do and we love it, and that's what it is. And I was thinking it'd be the same, like, okay, if I wasn't searching for action figures on the internet or playing with a figure or posing or doing this, I'd probably be playing a video game, or I could be, I could go to the gym, and it's not that you can't do those other things, it's all basically, I guess, time management. Like as it is. So I guess as long as we're not being neglectful of others, I guess it's not a bad thing, no matter how much time we spend with the hobby.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, when this thing first started ramping up, I was working a lot, so it was a good release. And a good way to get away from that daily grind, which was just ridiculous. But on top of that, I had a couple of friends that I would go and hang out with, sometimes 2-3 times a week at the bar, things like that. But, at that time, like, my best friend, like, she was kind of going through a change in her life. She's a single mom and her kids growing up. And she's like talking about her kids growing up and going to leave. And I can't relate to this, and, and so, eventually, we were kind of losing things in common, and things like that. And I kind of found this, which was kind of nice, but it's like, I would hear from some of my other friends say, hey, come hang out anymore. I'm like, yeah, no. Everything's going over there with that. And they're like, oh, this, that. And I'm like, it's the same. I'm not missing anything. All right, cool. And then, but it's kind of cool though, that when we do get together, it's not boring, right? So there's more stuff to talk about, things like that. And after a while, we came to an understanding, because we all kind of went different ways in our lives. People were changing jobs left and right. Because we were all used to work for the same company, so that was something we had in common as well. But so it was when I got my new job. That's when I really started going more deep into the community and participating a bit more. I mean, it was like a big life-changing event for me. So I was just changing shit all over the place,
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And that's what happens, change happens over time. Like, you could see when you look back certain points in your life, you might have been doing a certain thing more than the other. Like, like I remember, early mid to late 2000s. I was fucking in the bars and hanging out every week and chilling with my friends. And then it wasn't really like about the figures and the collecting back then. Like it was nothing like this as far as like being in a community like this and being so involved and doing a podcast and shit like this shit did not exist. Like I collected and it was like I had stuff at home, but like as far as like the social aspect of it, that shit did not come into play like at all. You know, everything was just bars and hanging out and parties, and then that's it. You know,
but the social aspect of this has really erased like what was sacrificed in some ways. At least it does for me. It's like it's almost like there was no sacrifice, at least from some of my past friendships and stuff.
Yeah, you gain also from the loss of something else. You gain another aspect of your life that actually has brought pleasure and happiness. So I'm kind of in the same predicament, Brian. Like I had a bunch of high school football buddies that we very close throughout the years, and as we got careers and a lot of them had kids, and some of them who had yes, pretty much the ones that had kids, they kind of had something in common, and it did the kids family thing, and others who didn't have that would go out, still watch sports and stuff. But I kind of fell, sports was definitely interesting for me, but it wasn't as much as interesting as toys were for me in collecting. So it was never had anything common with them in that respect, and that's when I kind of went into these communities and doing what I was doing and collecting, and kind of when they call me up, what are you doing? Oh, we're going to go to the bar. It just wasn't interesting to me anymore. So
So you're not seeing that as a sacrifice like now, right? It's just something that you just kind of
I see it. It's a sacrifice to the point where I may have lost because some of them are still closer than as they were in the past, and I don't have that closeness with them anymore because of that. So it's like definitely a sacrifice there that I'm not as close as what we used to be, but that's life. That's kind of you have to accept it, and but they always they're my friends, like Brian said, when we do get together, it's not like we never skipped a beat, and we talk, tell us what's going on. It actually makes, the whole get together kind of more enjoying, because it's, you're not there in your face 24/7 and stuff like that. As what we were when we were younger. So,
and that's good when you have friends like that it could feel like that there's no love lost, no matter how much time and distance, in between the last time you guys got to hang out, it's like you guys,
and it shouldn't be like
yesterday.
And it shouldn't be too, like, if you're a friend that's going to be pissed because you're not seeing your friend all the time, Dave, but it's like, get over yourself, just be happy that you're friends, and, you communicate whenever you can. So,
I know. So Dom, to expand, I got a question for you guys too. So let's say you have to go out to a gathering of people where you only know like a few people that are going to be there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you try to have idle chit chat with people, blah blah blah. But like, dude, ever since this collecting thing like became more mainstream for me, it's like, I don't want to talk to any of these normies. Do you guys have any of that? Like,
no, Brian, what happens to me is like I always assume that everybody's gonna be cool with what I do. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, like, yeah, man, I take toy pictures and I collect toys and fucking
but
that's though, like they're fucking
Dave,
cool,
but
and
Dave,
tell them and they're like, oh, okay. Like,
but that Dave,
nice.
that's your personality though, Dave. That's like that, because anything you're doing, you think it's like the great shit. So you're like, oh, dude, you're not doing this, man. This is like fucking good shit. What are you talking about? You're not collecting toys. This is what you need to do.
That shit doesn't even come up in conversation. Like it's almost like Brian, like how you said, like you kind of have like the separate life from the the real life. Like when it comes to most of the people at work, not everybody, but like and social gatherings of that type in real life. Besides family, that's in the know. But that's usually the way it is. It doesn't come up.
I realized I kind of have like a script, right? So when I work in sales, and I teach my team, there's certain scripting that you do for different situations so that you can really listen to your customer that way. And I find myself kind of like just in that setting, same thing. Like somehow it comes up. I have a script and it'll sound a little bit like, I've got a bit of a geeky side. I said, but before it was trendy, before everything in the last 10 years, and most people are like, oh yeah, and just I don't know, have a way to kind of to introduce it, I guess, if it comes up. But it's not that often that you find yourself sharing it with someone because it's too much explaining. I realize it's not fun when you have to explain it. Well, a third party item is like this kind of like thing from Japan. So if I say Transformers, it's not like what you think of when you go into the store.
I keep it very broad. Like there was a situation that came up, I would say maybe like about 6 months ago, like where the leadership of the hospital is kind of making their rounds through all the departments, and I was talking to one of them. They just happened to pass by my office, and my boss and the director was there, like a couple of the bosses, and then this administrator, and then we were just talking and kind of like just shooting the shit, and it kind of brought up like the personal stuff, but it just brought up very broad. Just I'm a collector. I collect things, and I'm into doing this, pop culture stuff. And she was like, oh, I collect like clocks, and and I'm kind of like into that too. And it's like, so it just shows you have in common, people have these things in common. It might not be exactly what you do, but you could find commonalities with anybody almost, what I'm saying? What if you do happen to have that conversation, So that was interesting because a person that I wouldn't really expect to speak to in that capacity. And then it just so happened that this kind of subject got brought up, kind of something personal that would never really have been brought up in that type of situation. And then to find out, oh, hey, like, that's me too. Like I collect this, what I'm saying? So that's kind of nice. And that's what their goal was anyway, to kind of just go around, get to know the staff more, for, they call it the drive, for excellence and stuff like that. So
that's cool.
Just interesting, like, because Brian brought it up just in those situations, like what he do.
Yeah, I just recently found out my manager likes like the comic book movies and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And he actually likes the Transformer movies.
Oh,
I don't want to get demoted.
Right, exactly. So for a different type of sacrifice, no, that's fine because I actually just kind of got me thinking. So I'm curious, what would you guys do with the space that you allocate towards your collection? So again, we enjoy it, so it's not a sacrifice, but the reality is you're giving up rooms in your house or areas. I was just curious, what would you do differently with all that space?
I would dance, Gary. I would dance.
You need a bunch of
rooms. No offense, Dom, your collection isn't up anywhere though. So
what?
Well, Gary, neither is mine at the present moment, but I am going through a sacrifice now where it's actually like it's depleting some of my income because I'm spending money to get that room ready, and thinking, thinking it was just going to be, Dom, what are you eating? A fucking...
Sorry, it's just a rapper.
All right. So
fucking trying to rip open that fucking Snickers bar. He hasn't had any carbs in months.
Yeah,
it's probably a celery stick. Fucking no one down.
An individually wrapped celery stick.
They sell those now.
It comes with a pint of peanut butter.
But like going through this now, like I didn't take account like really what was going to cost. So I bought Detox a year ago, sitting in my garage, right?
I remember that.
Now I made room for Billy's, so I bought Billy's. They're sitting in my garage, right, waiting. I had to pay the guy who basically knocked down the closets to open up rooms so that way I can put the Billy's inside. That cost me money. I had to pay for the paint. I had to pay for the materials. I have a carpet coming in next week. So those sacrifices where, that $3-4 grand, whatever it's going to cost me to do, could have went to maybe, going on vacation with the wife,
or more action figures.
So I think the sacrifice or more action figures. Yeah. I think the sacrifice more so is coming, from her for accepting what I do and actually helping me. She's all for, seeing me enjoy myself, and she's she's gung ho with the hobby. You guys know that. So, I think the sacrifice comes more on her end than it does my own, because I'm kind of being selfish when I think about it. But it is a sacrifice, because that money could be going to something else. It could be going to my kids, my kids' college fund or something. But
we can get nicer cars, shit like that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up, Dave. I was thinking of kind of like asking that. I just wasn't sure. Because we're all fucking responsible adults here. Like, I know that we do what we have to do. We're not neglecting bills or anything like that to keep up on this hobby. I'm pretty sure. But like things
bills,
like that.
What the fuck are bills?
Trash. What's this?
Things like that.
Those
like
envelopes that come
up.
in the mail? Oh, Jesus.
Everything's online now.
Wait, swipe left. No more bill.
E-bills. But you brought up like going on vacation or something like that, like with your wife, or your family, like the stuff like that. I was gonna ask, like, take a back seat, you know what I'm saying? And again, it just all goes with being responsible and making sure you kind of allocate the funds to those things. But we do spend a lot of money, on this hobby. So like, do things like that, family vacations, getaways, weekend getaways. Does that get sacrificed as well? And then, like you said, it maybe we're not seeing it from our end, but from their end. Like I think you're very right in bringing that up.
It definitely does. I mean, we just brought it up. I have a younger brother who's moving to Portland, right? And I basically said, like, hey, it looks like we're going to Portland. That's our vacation this year, right? And she's like, okay, maybe we'll go somewhere nice next year. You know what I mean? Like, because she wants to go, to Europe or something, like, Dom's going on a 2-week cruise, like something where, she gets that enjoyment, not so much that we're just doing it to do it, just to get away.
Yeah.
More so like she premeditated the whole trip, and she's looking forward to something, give her something to look forward to. And this year, the sacrifice is my room getting done. So sorry, babe. Like, we're going to have to keep it in the States and keep it cheap, so.
Hey, but at least
So selfish.
You get room. but as a result, Dave, hey, you're like, hey, baby, now there's room in the garage.
Well,
if this room gets done, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Try to. That will win her over, Dave. Let's tell her that she got room in the garage now.
Don't you, Brian? Eventually, when this room gets filled up, I got to fill another one. So I'm not telling her that, but
well, Brian at the top of the show, he said, "No sacrifice, no victory." So somebody has to make it.
Let's get back to the fact that Gary told me I don't display any of my toys. What are you talking about, Gary?
Just saying.
How many floating shelves do you have there? 3?
I've got a table. I've got 3 big floating shelves on this wall.
I'm going to put 3 floating shelves right over here for you, right behind me.
I hope you do. I hope you do. Hope you do. You change that painting like once a year for us, I think, right? So you change the.
Jesus, look at him. He was ruthless.
Gary, he was forced to take that football painting down.
I know.
They're saying that I was forced to take the football painting down. Was I forced, baby?
No, you wanted the other painting there.
Yeah, I had the other painting over there. I put another painting over there.
Yeah.
Sure.
I remember before I met Dom and I used to watch the Hangouts, I always associated him with that football painting in the background.
Yeah? Did you like that? Did you like that painting? You can have it. You can have it.
Tell Tanya she's guesting on BTM right now.
Yeah, she's guesting.
Only if you sign it, Dom. You have to sign it.
I'm in the middle of it. If you want, I can sign
it. Gary, to get back to sacrificing space. For me, yes. So I mean, I do live alone in my home, but this room,
lucky.
Yeah. So this room was a room that I hardly ever used anyway. It was an office that I never really used because it's just like working at the dining room table better for some reason. But so I was able to put stuff in here. But before that, no, man, like I had other rooms, including this one, that looked like, a warehouse of boxes and whatnot. And, I have a crawl space that's rather big, and I actually have to clean it out for these HVAC people to come on Thursday so they can run stuff. But Dude, that room, that's a lot of room that gets taken up for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So it sucks, but now I'm in a different place now that I've got some stuff out on display. But I mean, it's still, stuff's in closets, things like that. I mean, just clutter everywhere, like useless clutter that and I need to find a way to condense some of the detritus that comes with this hobby for sure.
That's what I'm in the middle of.
It. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, JD. I mean, you've got multiple collection rooms, right? So,
well, 2.
Yeah.
The biggest problem I have is like spreading it out because like I live alone. I do have a roommate or whatever, but I have this whole house to like spread my collection out.
He lives in that closet. He just stays in the closet.
But you've got probably tons of packaging and stuff like that. I mean, do you toss most of it or?
I have tossed a bunch of it. Yeah. I still have a lot of it left, especially like newer stuff. All the masterpiece boxes and all that stuff. I've kept all that, but yeah, I've been in this for a long time. You know what I mean? Over 25 years, and I've always been confined to a space or didn't have the space to devote to it. And now that I do have the space, I have this. The problem is I don't know how to spread it out.
Yeah. Well, well, at least you have the space, and the means most likely to figure that out. Like some of it, like me, like I don't got the space. Yeah, like that's my sacrifice is that I can't. A lot of my shit has to stay in boxes because I don't have the space to display it. And
yeah, Gary,
that could dead your excitement, like almost for the hobby, like at times, because then you feel like you're just stockpiling and stuff. Yep. And that's another question that's been brought up. Like I know personally, like each and every one of you, we're the type that we open our stuff and we have no problem doing that. But I was going to throw out the question to you guys, especially, with this display space as a concern. Like, how do you feel about like mint and seal box collecting? Because it seems like because of display concerns, like we wind up doing that, and I know most of us open our stuff, but there's a whole other aspect of the hobby, like people that just collect and keep their stuff in the package without even opening it up. And so in a way, like, are they able to display the way we display our stuff? Probably not. I'm sure there's ways. JD, you had, like, I remember at one point, like your walls full of like chugs still in package, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so I know there's definitely like options there, but what do you guys think about just mint and seal box collecting, like as a whole? Because I know a lot of the times we've spoke about it before. We get things, we mess with it, and we put it in the box and throw it on the pile. So essentially, that's kind of like what we're doing. Like, are we really enjoying the collection?
That's a good point.
I think that that it depends on what you're collecting. Like the vintage stuff, if it's mint sealed in box, I could see somebody collecting it. But like the stuff we're buying today, we don't know if it's gonna hold its value, and like with the stuff that they're putting into these toys now, the articulation, the paint, the face changes, the hand, the being able to swap out hands, all that kind of stuff, right? Why would I want to keep that in a box and not get some use out of it? Like that I don't agree with. The older Transformer, G1 stuff. I know Dom has a very nice collection that I've seen, and I've been able to appreciate it because he has it pristine. It's mint in a case, and that kind of stuff, like, you don't want to depreciate. You know what I mean? If it's been in the box since day one, you don't want to take it out.
Yeah, that's almost respecting it better.
Right,
I think.
Right, exactly.
Okay, I'm. This is a topic close to my heart because I consider, like, I am a seal collector. That I started as a seal collector. I always felt it was the art of it. Like, granted, yes, it's a toy, you meant to play with it, but I was always I always loved the fact that the toy in the box and the art on the box, everything that was presented to you the first time you ever saw that figure is a piece of art to me. Like, that's steel collecting is not like me collecting toys. It's me collecting a piece of art. And that's kind of how I take it. So for example, something more recent like the MP10 transform the Toys R Us exclusive where it comes in that big window box. That's a piece of like keeping it in that box is an art piece of art for me. Like I would keep that in the box and knowing it's a toy.
It's in a clear bubble. I don't see how it's art.
That it's just the way I see it, Gary. That's how I see it. Like I like it's like if you buy a painting and it's a piece of art that's hanging up on the wall. And
no, you didn't just compare MP10 at Toys R Us to a painting.
Yeah, that's what I did.
I don't
you can. I understand where Dom's coming from.
Yeah, I understand too. Gary, this doesn't look like art to you.
It's art, dude. It's like, look at it. Like, dude, did you ever see any of those like the box art on carded figures and the drawings that are on those figures?
So that's different to me. Like I can respect, like the artists that did, rendering or graphics, who did that by hand. I'm just saying clever packaging is just clever packaging to catch your eye to the product. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like I like the fact that, the whole presentation, the package and the way it looks. And I do not, granted, I could open up and play with that toy, which, that's why I bought a second one to do. But like at the end of the day, I like the sealed collecting aspect of it. So I know it's a piece that I can have in my collection it's what it will look like when it was on the shelf or it was there as a piece. And then it's like a piece of art in my collection.
That's interesting, Dom. Like I never looked at it that way. I could respect that you do. I always looked at it more of like an investment. Like, mint in box collecting. I always consider it just an investment.
I don't get I understand when people say that. Like, like when I got into seal collecting on G1 figures, I really didn't look for it as an investment. Like I just wanted a sealed, untouched box because, I wanted it as like, to see it in what it came in. And when I saw it in the stores, that's why I went for steel collecting.
Well, it's also like that. I don't know about you guys, but I know growing up in the 80s, early 90s, we knew that if you had, you had something sealed in box, that it was worth something. And you knew if you had it loose, it probably wasn't going to be worth much. You know what I mean? I grew up thinking that, like, if I had something in a box, it was always going to be.
I never did. I like baseball cards was always like something like that. When I was with my baseball cards and I I have Ricky Henderson's rookie card. Oh, I know that's going to be valuable because
who's that?
Ricky Henderson.
I don't know who that is.
So he used to be famous for stealing bases.
Jesus Christ.
On the A's, right?
Yeah, the A's, and he went to the Yankees. So basically, but baseball cards had that type of history, where I think when toys in the '80s had that big boom, I don't think anybody knew that any of those '80 toys are going to be worth as much as they are now. So and people feel like these toys now are going to be worth something in the future. Who knows? We don't know. It's a different market, different situation. The supply is different than what it is back then. So it's like it's all dependent on that.
And also well, Gary, 1 second, real quick.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's not just looking at a single toy in a box or on a card, but if you have a multitude of those items together, they sometimes look really impressive. I remember in the early days of ETR when Jisk was on, he used to have all his boxes stacked up behind him, and I always thought that looked really cool. I'm collecting the Takara Diaclone reboot line, and all my stuff is in box, and I have it all stacked up right there, and it's preventing me from opening it because it just looks so cool all together there in their boxes.
What are you going to say, Gary?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just going to say, this is going to sound a little bit maybe like almost like hypocritical, but I'm going to say what I think. And I mentioned something similar at Skullfest when we were talking about it. So I made this analogy. But I have a Wrangler, a Jeep Wrangler, and I love getting it dirty and I love when I have it cleaned and it's like all shined up and all the rims and everything is off of it and the top is off and I see it in the driveway and it looks amazing. So I can appreciate that component to what you guys are kind of describing. But at the same time, the truck was built to do something. And it's lifted and it's got big tires and wheels. And when I get it and drive it with the top off, I realize that's what it's built for. And then it gets dirty again and kind of the process repeats itself. But so I guess I just feel it's almost such a waste to not get a chance to appreciate the items for what they were made to do, just because you want to look at it.
Gary, do you have any of those commemorative Time Life plates hanging in your house by any chance?
No, I eat off them because they're plate. No, they're plates. They serve a purpose. I mean, I do understand. I really do, of like wanting to have something, and there's some joy in ownership of select items. But I guess I have a hard time understanding when you have multiples. I think that joy diminishes when it's a package. You're just looking at a package. It could be empty for all you know. You know what I mean? And you're just looking at a package for it, and you're missing out on experiencing what you're really paying for, I think.
Yeah, I get that because, like, again, to this day, I don't have anything essentially out. But when I do get something in, I open it right away. Like, I have all the stuff that, I've gotten in the past, few days. I play with it for a few days, and then I put it back away. It's not like I buy it and I'm like, okay, I bought it. It's gonna sit in that corner until I'm ready to fucking take it out. The minute it comes in, I'm fucking looking at it, playing with it, because I spent my money on it. Like, I want to see what it's worth. Like, I want to see if it's cracked up to what I made it to be in order for me to spend my hard-earned money on it. Mm-hmm. So, but sometimes I do. I'm like, I have fucking 35 boxes of fucking Transformers upstairs that I don't get to play with unless I go look for something. Like, we did the show and tell last week. I had to look for that. I didn't know where the fuck it was. Like, it's not like, somebody else can just grab it off their shelf and enjoy it for what it is. But, to Gary, to your point, if it's just sitting in a box and not doing anything, I don't need it. I don't like, I could see again the mint in box collecting, and it's mint in box, and that's what you bought it for, because you like the way it looks in the box, and you want to maybe one day see where its value is going to go and sell it, because you'll get the top dollar for something like that that's not manhandled. But for me, no, like, it's a waste. Like, I'm already looking at stuff that I haven't opened or got a chance to really fuck with much, that I'm like, I might get rid of that next NJCC, because it's been sitting in a box for a year and a half.
I look at it like again, not to sound preachy, because look, everyone spends the money the way that they're happiest. But I look at like Brian setting up his shells, and JD. I look at like what you do with the dioramas and your talents and your skills there, and that's, to me, you're like paying respect more to your collection that way, right? You're creating an environment to let it really show its like absolute very best, and I don't know. I think about that Diaclone stuff, Brian. I'm like, that stuff is like supposed to be so much fun from what everyone who opens it and says. Like, how much more would you enjoy it? And you could still look at the boxes if you wanted to.
Maybe I could, but I don't know. Maybe it's the anticipation.
See, no, that's cool. See, I can buy. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I get that. You can sell me on that.
I think, though, for some people who are mint and seal box collectors, I think it might be the thrill of the acquisition for them, not necessarily the thrill of putting it on display and playing with it.
That's kind of like jerking off, too. Getting halfway there and then just stopping.
Mm.
But no, I mean, everybody knows that, like, I used to buy 2 of everything. I had the idea of, I like the way it looks in package. I mean, I still have doubles of a lot of, my Star Wars stuff. I have doubles of everything there. But like after it was all said and done, you know what I mean? Some of it was just like, okay, well, I'm tired of looking at this, and how many more stormtroopers could this afford me? So let's get rid of it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But
Do you
no,
think
I fell back into like I'd much rather play with these toys rather than, look at them in the package. I'll give someone else that opportunity. Once I sell all this stuff, I'll give somebody else the opportunity to enjoy it for the first time,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
whether they open it or not.
Do you think the main drive, and in school, I'm of that philosophy, like, collect how you want and what you want, what I'm saying, whatever makes you happy. But I know, as children, we weren't thinking about the value of these things. You got a toy, you opened it, you beat the shit out of it. As you get older, you realize, like, damn, some of these things that I loved as a child is worth a pretty decent penny. But we know that as adults. So I feel like that definitely influences your decision to maybe collect, like, in that way, at least from my perspective. Like, I feel like it's a financial thing. Like, we now, through hindsight, we know the toys we played with as children are worth money. So now we're thinking, okay, whatever we buy now 20-30 years from now might be worth something. So that, I think that's the main drive for the people that are mint and seal box collectors. But I do agree with Gary, that you kind of do yourself a disservice, because you're not really getting the true enjoyment out of the action figure. Like, I had that mentality for a while, getting older, and like, hey, okay, I'm gonna buy this and just put it on the side because it might be worth something. But you're not enjoying it. You're buying more for like an investment more than just enjoying it. Like, I wasn't enjoying it when I was doing it with those purposes.
Yeah, but like, I'm not saying, like, listen, I have a seal collection of certain things. I didn't buy it or keep it sealed because of the possibility of investment or the possibility it was going to be more money. I collected sealed stuff because I wanted something still in its package because I liked the way it looked.
Yeah,
like, it's nostalgia for me. It's like you, Gary, you might get nostalgia because you playing with that figure. Granted, believe me, I have whatever G1 figures I have sealed, I have them open and I can play with them. But the thing is that when I got into seal collecting and I saw an item sealed in its original box, it brought a nostalgia for me to say, you know what, this is how I saw it for the first time when I was a kid. When I got it off the shelf, and this is what it was, pristine in its individual box, and that to me, is what that's why I'm a seal. Like, sometimes I'll collect sealed stuff, like, and it's just certain aspect that it brings to me. So like, I feel like when you say something like, oh, it doesn't bring me any enjoyment collecting, or you're doing a disservice to yourself because you're not opening up the figure and playing with it. I kind of disagree there, because the individual who's collecting it sealed is getting that enjoyment of seeing it in its original packaging and in that state, in that form.
So let's clarify maybe just a little bit. So I can buy into what Brian said, the anticipation of opening something. I can buy into the appreciation of artwork, if that's what it is, and a vintage item that is hard to not reproduce. What's what I'm looking for? To replace, right? Basically, that would be an authentic sealed item. Like, I think it's respectful at that point to not open that one, right? And maybe just find something else if you want one to play with. What I'm thinking about is, like, if I have a current Black Series Star Wars 6-inch figure all in the box, and that goes back to like whatever 2012 or 2013. So let's say it's 5 years now. What does that look like? They're all the same. It's blue, orange, and red on the boxes. Or if I'm keeping Marvel Legends like in the box, in the case that I bought last year at the store, I guess I have a hard time with that, because I don't feel that they're not vintage items. They're not hard to replace.
Those 80 toys, those 80 toys were not vintage at all during the time too. Either,
at that time, yeah.
So
at
people
that time,
were. I collect certain toys right now. I collect, like, especially those masterpieces that Toys R Us put out with the window cases and everything. I just thought they were just cool, and how they looked, and keeping one in the individual
Oh,
Damn it.
remind me
there we go.
to remind me of what it looked like. You know what I'm saying? Like the Starscream, like the nice Walmart exclusive Starscream that came out, Masterpiece. It just looked cool in the box, and I would love to keep something like that in the box and keep it there just to remind me this is how it looked, this is what the packaging looked like, and it's a presentation. Like I said, just like a statue. Like I feel like sometimes I'm treating that toy or that whole package as a statue. It's there, sitting there.
That's a good way to. That's a kind of a good way to kind of correlate.
I collect statues too, so like I have statues of characters that of represent Optimus Prime, Megatron, and it sits there. It doesn't transform. I can't play with it. It just sits there, and I enjoy it, and it brings me that nostalgia because I know the character, I know that representation, and then just in the toy packaging though, it's like. I just enjoy it because that's what that's how I saw it when I was hunting for it in the store. That's how I visioned it, and when I got my hands on it, that's what I looked at it, and just to keep that that time's sake and that sealed in that particular way is what brings some of that nostalgia for me. Yeah, I'm just trying to explain it to you how I feel about it. Throw away the investment bullshit. Like that's just bullshit at the end of the day. But like when you actually get into a seal collecting, you're really enjoying the whole package of it, and you treat it like a statue. You just treat it like it's something. Yep.
I love that. No, I love that perspective, Dom, because again, just like with the earlier topic we were talking about, and you brought up time, I wasn't seeing it from that perspective, you know what I'm saying? Because I grew up, I worked in a hobby shop, selling action figures, so it was just drilled into me the retail aspect of it, and this is worth money, and you know what I'm saying, and this is what you do. Like I didn't see it from that aspect. Hey, I'm buying this because and I want to keep it pristine because this is my memory of having it, and it just does look nice in whatever presentation it may be. Like it's nice to hear that perspective, and that's why I fucking love doing this shit on Tuesdays, because you could get just different people's perspectives on these things. You know what I'm saying? When you kind of can't step outside the box and see that initially yourself.
And Dom, I'm looking at some stuff that I haven't opened yet around here, and the companies, they make an effort.
Yep.
I mean,
they do.
Leaving this in the box and hanging it on a wall or whatever. This is a way of displaying this thing.
Yep.
Right? You can enjoy it if that's your bag.
And we see it now in when like these Kickstarters are doing, especially like Mythic Legions. I don't bring in Mythic Legion. They're making friendly collecting packages that you can put it back in the package and display it as in package, or take it out and play with it. Like it's so. It's definitely there's definitely a group out there that and I'm in that group. Seal collecting is something of a niche that you really need to get into. But I just like to share my thoughts because it's because I began that way, and the way I began it because I just wanted something preserved in its original packaging, the way I saw it on the shelf, and looking at that particular figure the way it was gives me that nostalgia. Completely gives me that nostalgia, because sometimes that shit was right under my Christmas tree in the packaging, and it just, when I woke up, ran downstairs, and I saw all my Transformers, G.I. Joes in those boxes, and those awesome art boxes, it's just it just brings back that memories. So
I mean, I could definitely co-sign what you're saying, dude, because coming back from Bobby's from Skullfest weekend, and when we dropped you off, and you showed me and Dave pieces from your G1 collection inside those cases, mint and sealed box, like I'm like, it brought back kind of like a flashback of memories. Like I remember having this figure and opening this shit Christmas morning. Like I remember this box looking like this, and I haven't seen this like this since I was a child. It's been fucking 30 something years, so there is definitely fucking something to say, when it comes to that. It definitely strikes a fucking chord.
Real quick, Kramer in the chat referring to Gary and Dom, two guys with no carbs, angry and ready to rumble.
Don't fuck with me, Gary.
Get it on a TFCon. He goes, look, Gary's still mad. Eat a potato.
Love you, Bram. Love you, Bram.
That's good. That's good. Look, you guys, I can appreciate some of it. I just, I thought it was an interesting topic because, we talked about the sacrifices and investments of time and money, and giving up other stuff. And JD probably had the best analogy of the night. I'm not going to repeat it, but about taking something
come
halfway.
on.
But yeah, no, I think it was good discussion. It was interesting to hear some of the different perspectives.
Yeah.
And Gary, like just to put in perspective, like I was collecting during that time a chug, walking into stores, seeing them hanging up on the racks and grabbing them. So like for JD having them hung up on his wall, like I can understand that, because it's just, to me, having a chug sealed in its original bubble and the card art that was very visible to you when you walked into the store and everything like that is something to me that will always bring back those memories. And walking in and seeing that in packaged figure.
This may help Gary. People buy cars and garage keep them, and they don't
do.
drive them. It's the same fucking thing.
They
True.
do.
That is true.
It's true.
And it's a shame because
Shame,
the
right?
car was not built to be. It wasn't built
For whatever
to do
reason. For whatever reason,
They do it.
they
It's
have
such a
rolling
shame.
around in their head, whether it's nostalgia or an investment.
I get it.
People
Or just the act that they know they have it
they know,
acquired it.
yeah, exactly. They know they have it. It could be as simple as that.
It's such a shame.
I know, like recently though, like presentation has played like a factor. Like a lot of the stuff that we get, like in regards to third party and keeping stuff in box, like we open our shit, but a lot of the stuff is easily resealable, and you said that the Mythic Legions are very good with that, where their stuff, it looks like it's on card, like a bubble card, but it's made in a way where you can reseal it. And recently I bought one of those Knights of the Slice figures, and it was on a card. Like if I wanted to play with that figure, I had to destroy the packaging, and I didn't open it, and I wound up selling it to Chris, because I was like, first of all, the thing cost $80. And I'm like, okay, if I open this, again, like I think the way I was brought up, that value aspect, I'm like, it's not going to be worth the same thing if I break this thing open and I decide to get rid of it. Like I'm going to definitely take it at a loss. And it basically kept me from opening the figure, but it was that type of packaging where, hey, you could put it on a little pin and hang it up on your wall and still kind of like enjoy it like in that way. Even if you aren't, able to play with it and manipulate the figure like you normally would, and those figures are great. So you should be able to mess with a figure like that. But the price point and the presentation of the packaging kept me from opening that figure. You know what I'm saying? And that's just something that I guess that's been in me since, as a kid and shit like that. I was hesitant to open it, and I don't feel that way about any of these figures that come in boxes where you could just easily put them back in and close that box, and you broke the tape seal, but you're not breaking like a bubble card, so and it seems to be different nowadays too, where collectors don't seem to mind as much, and you could easily resell a figure and not take much of a loss on it
but if you lose the packaging, then you take a loss. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, good stuff, man. This was some good discussion, guys. I enjoyed this. Really, really enjoyed it. Definitely needed. And, we always continue on broadcasted. So before we head out, we're going to get some quick where you ats from the group. And, thanks, Gary, for kind of keeping us in check in the chat and shit like that, and keeping these topics like lined up for this. There's been some really good stuff the past couple of weeks. I'm enjoying it. So thank you. I'll start with Brian Brink. Tell these people where you at, brother.
All right. Hey, before I do, I'm trying to find it. There was I think Adamus posted it. Hold on. I think I found it.
I wanted to shout him out earlier where he said he felt like he was neglecting his wife, so he made sure he knocked her out. Is that what you're going to shout out? Shout that shit out.
We were talking about sacrifices and neglecting people. He said, I felt like I was neglecting my wife, so I knocked her up so that she could be tired and leave me alone to play with my toys.
Oh, shit.
I was waiting to shout that shit out like earlier. I just couldn't find the right spot. I'm glad you did, man.
That's awesome.
I'm glad you did.
Oh.
That's some good strategy there, bro. Good strategy. But that's a 20 plus year investment right there. That's lifetime.
Oh yeah, so
all right, Brian.
you can find me Brian Brink in the Facebook groups, of course. Check out Realm of Collectors, this group out there, and at Brinkalizer on Instagram. ETR Monday nights here on this channel, and I can't wait for Plastic Fanatics to come back. Get back on there too.
Yep, 3-week
Yes.
hiatus. So I know Dust Mites is planning on doing something on Saturday nights to fill the void until James comes back. So look for something this Saturday night on the Realm of Collectors YouTube channel.
That's cool.
All right. Next up, Big Dom.
You can find me in the groups Dominic Grasso and here Tuesday nights with these guys. Fuck you, Gary.
All right.
Hey, we're all friends here.
Gary took over my spot. I'm happy about it.
Yeah, they might get jealous.
You're on top of it. You're on top of the list, Gary.
Listen.
Damn
all
card
right.
dealer.
Energon Addict.
Find me on Instagram, Energon Addict. David Colon in the Facebook groups here on Tuesdays.
Playing with his purse.
Actually, it's my daughter's unicorn. I was gonna show Gary it though. Maybe he'd like it.
I appreciate that. Thank you. That's great.
All right. Next up, G Money.
Yes, G Money 1010 on Instagram and Gary Allen in the Facebook groups. So, and thank you to the people that PM me a little bit about the another ROC wellness challenge. So if anybody is interested, again, hit me up there directly. Eric, thank you for reaching out last week. I'm going to kind of put together a list, and I think maybe we can shoot for maybe an August 1st start date if we have enough people who are interested again. So yeah,
nice.
I thought we were starting in 5 days.
Yeah, I thought July, but it's true. 4th of July. We should start July fucking 5th. Just fucking right after the 4th of July.
From the guy who has to do the math and tabulate the scale photos, might wait until August 1st.
He wants another month before he has to see those feet.
Oh, we have to get pedicures first.
Just hit me up and we can maybe talk on a future show.
Gary's gonna buy everybody's socks.
Do we have a show next week? I don't think.
I'm gonna get Gary and adding.
You know what? I actually meant to hit us. We might be on hiatus next week, but stay tuned. We'll let you know definitely in the Facebook group and on the Realm of Collectors Instagram whether we'll be live next week. All
right, cool. I'll talk a little more on a future show, rules, and kind of what we think might be a good prize form for it. So more info to come. Cool.
All right. Sweet, man. Sweet. And dude, I was always respectful, bro. Whenever I got on the scale, I had my socks on, bro.
I was about to say that could be an easy disqualification right there.
No hobbit feet in the fucking pictures, right?
Yeah, guys, the socks don't add too much weight, so don't worry about it.
Cover them bunion.
Big Gary said. All right, JD.
You can find me JD Brocious in the Facebook groups, Pigment Surgery on Instagram and Xbox Live, and here every Tuesday.
What day is it?
All right, and
Tuesday. What day is it? Day.
All right. And as for myself, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Xbox Live, and the PlayStation Network, all at Harrican BX. Here every single Tuesday night on BTM with these fine gentlemen. And you can find my podcast called Verbally Challenged with Harrican BX on all audio platforms. Please check that out. Before we head out, remember to check out the website, realmofcollectors.com. Want to send a special shout out to the community. We had a legit sellout of the second run of the Rockfather shirt. So just huge thank you for everybody that purchased a pre-order. We'll be getting those shirts to you real soon. Stay tuned for the group for updates. Once again, just really appreciate the love and support from the community. Shout out to some friends of the show at Figure Photography Crate on Instagram. That's Tim K. Third Party Unlimited, tfprototype.com, kumastyle.com, Retro Now on YouTube, TKO and the Blackout and Shout crew. Join us on Facebook where there is a group, Realm of Collectors. We're on Instagram at Realm of Collectors. This podcast, Breaking the Mold, is a proud part of the Cool Table Network. So please pull up a chair. It's a hub for like-minded podcasts, including Enter the Realm, Plastic Fanatics, Shattercast Uncut, Toy Detox, Nerd Rage Radio, Beer and Bolters 40K, Stasis Lock, 8 weeks building up to it, and Fresh Communication. You can find the Cool Table on Facebook and subscribe to all these other great podcasts on iTunes and Google Play. So that's our show for tonight, guys. Thank you to everybody watching and listening. We are the ROC. We're not going anywhere, so get to know us. Peace out, and we may see you next week. All right?
Peace.
Take care, guys.
Take care.
Peace.
Toodles.
Have a great week.